What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Bailey Canning. I run a web design and digital marketing studio called Inbound Web Development, where we work exclusively with architecture firms to help them generate more project leads, grow their revenues, and ultimately sign and work with their ideal client. Today's video is going to be an in-depth case study on one of our most successful clients to date. They are called 1070 Architecture. They are a modern architecture studio located in San Diego, California. And we've been working with them for a little over 2 years now. And we first started out by building their website along with some strategy and branding workshops. And then once the website has been live, we've been consistently marketing the website online. And this has helped the company generate, a steady stream of anywhere between 10 to 20 to even sometimes 30 project leads per quarter. And ultimately, this is helping the firm grow significantly. So when I first started out, I was working exclusively with the owner. It was a solo firm. And now 2 years later, they have about 5 employees. And a lot of it is due to the marketing work we've been doing, but also this company is offering an awesome service and they are one of the leaders in their field. So it makes my job a lot easier when you're working with some really talented people. But regardless, I wanted to kind of pull back the curtain a bit in this video, kind of go over what exactly this process looks like. So this is essentially a case study / behind the scenes look at everything it takes to design, develop an awesome architecture firm website. And then once that website is live, how do we drive traffic to the website so that we can generate leads? And then once we generate leads, because if you're the owner of a firm, I'm sure you know this, you can't pay your bills with leads. You actually need signed clients. So what can we do from a digital marketing perspective to not only generate leads, but once we generate those leads, what can we do to nurture them into booking a first-time appointment, which is ultimately going to give you the opportunity to sell your firm's services. All right, if that sounds interesting for you, definitely check out the entire video from start to finish here. But before we get into all that, make sure to like the video if you actually like it, subscribe to my channel because I'll be regularly putting out content like this, all about how to market and grow your architecture firm. And finally, if you know of anyone in your network who would benefit from this video, definitely send it over to them because it just helps me out, helps you out, and helps everybody out. So now I'm going to take you through exactly the process that we followed in this project to develop an effective strategy for the website to ensure that it's going to resonate with the people who are going to be viewing it. And so it can ultimately generate business results for the studio here. Then I'm going to walk you through how we created the design for the website using a tool that I love called Figma. We'll talk about the development part, so how we took that design and turned it into real live code and ultimately the website that is now online today. And then finally, I will briefly discuss the marketing strategy we pursued and unveil some of the statistics and data behind the results of our marketing efforts. If you're going to create a website, the first step you must follow, and it's literally non-negotiable if you want to create a website that actually generates business results, is going to be putting together a concrete strategy for the entire project. If you don't take the time to develop a solid strategy, you're essentially flying blind and you have no idea if the efforts you're putting in today are going to result in benefits down the line. So our first step here, that being said, was to develop an effective strategy for the website. So I just, created this presentation for my clients. What we talked about were setting goals. We audited the current website at the time, so we kind of had a good understanding of where we're currently starting out from. We then looked at the competitors, so the local competitor websites in their area who people are going to be comparing them to when they ultimately choose to book that first consultation and hire an architect. And then finally, we talked about the content strategy. So what should each page have? And then we also reviewed some visual examples from examples they submitted to me and examples I found that I thought are good inspiration for the project. This way, we're all aligned after this one meeting of what are our goals for the project? How are we going to measure success? What do we like about the competition strategy? What don't we like? How can we improve upon that? What content is the website going to feature? So this way, whether that's me or my team developing the content or the client developing the content, we know what we're going to need by the end of this project to get done. And then finally, what kind of visual style do we want to go with? Because this is super important for the next phase of the project. So following strategy, it's always design next. And we want to make sure that we're on the same page of what kind of design we're going for, because the last thing we ever want to do is spend hours and hours developing a design only to submit it to our clients and find out that it was not at all what they were expecting or not at all what they wanted. So this meeting, this strategy session is super, super critical. In fact, now it's the first step of my company Inbound Web Development's process. So if you were to go to our website today, as of this recording, you would see that the growth marketing roadmap is that first step we take in every single project in order to develop this effective marketing strategy, because without this strategy, we cannot guarantee success at all. So that's why it's so important to put together this strategy. So I'm going to just briefly go through it real quick. We talked about what are our goals for the website. We then audited the current website and looked at how it's performing from an SEO perspective. We looked at the keywords it was ranking for. As you'll see here, it really wasn't ranking for much at all. Keep that in mind as I look at the keyword rankings going forward in this video. We also looked at what is the competition online and how are they doing. So when people Google, San Diego modern architects, this is what they're seeing here. And then we also looked at some of the other things related to SEO as well. And as you can see here, we looked at site speed, which is critically important as well. And then, I kind of just summarized the main takeaways for my client here, because obviously, this is a lot of data. At the end of the day, they need a professional to be like, what exactly does it all mean though, right? Okay, then we moved on to talking about the competitors' websites as well. So I looked at some of the ones that I found that were ranking well on Google, as well as some of the ones that the client had submitted to me that they wanted me to take a deeper look into. So I gave basically my overall thoughts. And then I pulled some data on their SEO performance and site speed. We also, during the presentation, screen shared the websites and went over what exactly we like about them, what exactly we don't like about them, etc. So we just did this for a couple different competitors, and then the key takeaways as well in terms of what the competitive landscape was looking like. Then we talked about content strategy. So this was our initial build for the website. This is what we were trying to get in phase 1. We wanted to get all these pages done. So you can see like a home page and about page with some bios for the people involved, services, process, projects, a portfolio essentially, and then a blog, contact page, and a specific consultation sign up. So this was the phase 1 build here. And so basically we just talk about, first I introduced what do I even mean by content here. So this is the type of content that in this case I thought might be something for us to consider. What do we want to include? And then on each page here, I just talked about what content we should at least have most likely, and then what's some additional and optional content. So here you'll see I did this for each of the pages that were on that initial sitemap as well. So then in terms of the visual direction, I put together a mood board for my projects as well. So this way we can collect design inspiration. Doesn't just need to be from websites, it could be from like movie posters or album covers or whatever really. Basically this way kind of just inspires the look and feel of the website. And I do find that it's good to get design inspiration from just outside websites as well, because if we can incorporate design from like books or art or movies, then we can really create something unique that is going to stand out online. So I always like to get some inspiration from outside the digital realm. And then I also looked at some other websites as well that I thought could be good examples for what we could do. Generally, I do this presentation, even if we were in the same location, I would generally do it remote. So this way we can record the video and go over it later and then just screen share as well. So yeah, and then I summarized next steps. We also did a brand story workshop. So this is based on a book called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. Really good marketing book. I definitely think everybody in my field should read it at least once. Essentially, it talks about how the problem, and I'm sure now if you go to websites, you'll start to see this a lot. And that is when you go to websites, a lot of firms are talking about how we are awesome, we are great, we have expertise, we have experience, we know how to do your project right. But it's just we. And quite frankly, individuals, prospects go into your websites, and everyone's like this, I'm like this myself. Really, we only care about ourselves and our problems and how that solution that your company is offering is going to fix our specific problems. We really don't care about some architecture firm that we just found out about 5 seconds ago. So the way you can get around this, and this is basically the foundation of any effective marketing message, is to create a story brand where you are not positioning your company as the hero. Rather, what you are doing is you are positioning your prospect as the hero, and you are going to be the guide that helps them solve the problem. So that's essentially what this is. The hero wants something but has a problem. They want to design a custom, beautiful, modern home, but they're not an architect. They need to hire someone to do it, of course. They meet a guide who gives them a plan that helps them avoid failure and ends in success. And quite frankly, every good movie essentially follows this format. So for example, in Star Wars, what we want to be is you want to position your firm as Obi-Wan Kenobi, while the prospect is Luke Skywalker. Same for Back to the Future here, classic 80s movie. You want to be the doctor, his name escapes me at the moment. You don't want to be Marty McFly. And same for a more modern example, we can think of the Marvel movies where, at least in the Spider-Man ones, Tony Stark is the guide that is giving Peter Parker, Tom Holland, Spider-Man, the plan to ultimately save New York City. So basically, people don't look for a hero, they look for a guide, and then we see the structure of a story. The hero wants something but has a problem, meets a guide who gives them a plan that helps them avoid failure and then ends in success. And so basically, we talk about how do we define the character, how do we develop what is the problem they're facing, how can we position ourselves as the guide, etc. And basically all this then goes towards, I then summarize this for my client for our 2 avatars, and then we talked about how can we use all this information to develop a story so that we can use this as a framework to write really effective copy for the website, which is super important. But yeah, we essentially just use this entire story brand framework to create a good positioning for the company. And then we also use that as well to inform the copywriting strategy so that we can constantly reference and talk about things that really matter to our audience who's viewing the website, and then smartly position our firm, smartly position this company, this architecture studio, as the solution to their problems. So then once we did that, then it was time to go into the design phase. So here, what we first start out is with the UX wireframes, so user experience wireframes. This is just a template because I didn't have the old version myself anymore. Here on the UX wireframes here, essentially this is always the first step in the design phase. In fact, sometimes I actually sketch these out on like a notebook, but at least in the digital part, this is the first step where we create very high level, what you can think of as blueprints to the website. And then what we're focused on is really at this point just nailing down what content is each page going to have and what is going to be the layout and structure of each page. Then once we do that, we can move into the design phase, the UI design phase next here, where we're taking the layouts here and we are looking and we are creating an actual finalized user interface design here, where this represents the final product that you're going to likely see on the website. So using this software allows us to just quickly experiment with different ideas. It allows me and my team to present these ideas to the client so they can see exactly what it's going to look like before the website goes live. Figma has a really awesome comment tool where you can leave comments and exchange feedback. Super, super easy. So yeah, we use this for every project. This basically then, once we finish this, it basically gives the client a complete overview of exactly what it's going to look like in terms of the copy as well and the design, of course. And then from there, they can request changes. We have a couple of rounds of revisions, whatever. And then once they approve it, we then go right into developing the website. Now, once the client has approved the design, then it is on me and my team to get the site live and developed. We use a tool called Webflow. Previously, we used WordPress, but we just found like Webflow was just a perfect fit for architecture firms in terms of allowing us to easily achieve any design imaginable that the internet allows for, the web. And then also super easy for marketing teams as well to pop in here and make updates and produce new content if they need to. Super easy if we're working with a smaller firm as well for just the owner or founder to go in and make some basic edits to their website. And really in terms of the Figma design software as well, we have a framework now that we've developed where essentially we are able to use that along with the website, and it just really, really cuts down on development time. So we're able to get these websites done in probably anywhere between 60 to 90 days at this point, which is basically a pretty efficient timeline, all things considered, in terms of industry averages. So once we had the website live, it was time for the digital marketing portion, and I'm going to now go back to the main camera and talk about that. Now, once the website was completed, we knew we were going to have to invest significant resources into creating content and then focusing on strategies from a digital marketing perspective in order to get eyeballs to the website and in order to ultimately generate leads for the architecture studio. You always want to start first with making sure that your firm has a really awesome website, even if that's just a simple one-page website with a couple of portfolio projects linked on it, because ultimately it doesn't make sense to pursue an online marketing campaign or long-term strategy if you don't have a really solid website to have people look at. Because if you're spending time, energy, and money, most importantly, sending traffic to a website that looks outdated and just doesn't have the content people are looking for, then ultimately it's going to be like filling a leaky bucket with water. Sure, you might get the one or two project inquiries here or there, but ultimately you're kind of going to be handicapping yourself, so to speak, if you don't have a really awesome website to send people to. So that is why, obviously, then we first focus on creating a really awesome website in just a phase one build. And then ultimately, then it was time to go on to adding more key pages to the website, as well as pursuing an online marketing strategy aimed at driving more traffic to the website, generating leads, and then nurturing those leads into booking a first-time consultation. All right, now at a super high level here, this is what the strategy focused on. It was SEO for getting inbound traffic to the website. SEO, search engine optimization, if you didn't know, is all about optimizing your website and creating content so that it shows up high in Google's search rankings. So this way, when prospects in your local area are searching for firms like yours, you're going to pop up. This is critically important because if you can think about how people today go about making decisions in terms of who to work with, if they don't have a referral to an architect in their network and they don't already know of an architect who can help them, then they're going to be going to Google to find someone who can help them in the local area. And if your firm does not show up on that first page of Google, it practically doesn't exist. So that is why it is critically important to be able to rank on the first page of Google when people search for, in this case, a modern architecture firm San Diego or ADU architect San Diego, which were some of the keywords that we were really focused on. The next big thing we focused on was developing a lead magnet for both core audiences the firm was trying to reach. In this case, it was people who are looking into a luxury home project. So either developing a brand new custom large home from scratch or heavily remodeling their existing home into a luxury custom home. The next audience we were focused on was people who are interested in an ADU or accessory dwelling unit project. These are essentially small homes that can be either attached or detached that you would build on your property. With this, you could either add extra livable space to your home for a reasonable cost overall versus building a new home from scratch, or you could rent these units out and generate passive income. So essentially, you can think of it as a form of house hacking. Now, to reach these two audiences online, we created lead magnets, as I said, and a lead magnet is essentially a gated piece of content, meaning for someone to access it, they need to give their name or email address. So that's how they download it. They can't just access it like this video online or a blog post that you can read anywhere. And we created two very specific lead magnets for these audiences. One we called the Dream Home Guide, which laid out the entire process from start to finish on how to design a custom home from scratch in San Diego. And the second lead magnet was called the Illustrated Guide to San Diego's Accessory Dwelling Unit Regulations. And essentially what this did is it took the whole municipal code relating to ADUs in San Diego, and the client created visual diagrams explaining what some of them mean. Once we got these two content resources up and running, we then focused our efforts on building up a Google Ads campaign for both lead magnets to be able to get eyeballs onto those offers and have people ultimately signing up and downloading those. From there, we implemented an automated email marketing campaign, which essentially followed up and continued to provide more and more value to these people in terms of related videos, related blog posts, all with the goal of helping them plan out their project and ultimately find the right architecture firm for them. This essentially allowed the client to put their entire marketing strategy on autopilot because there were constantly new leads being put in every single day. And then we had an automated email marketing strategy on the back end that was nurturing these leads into becoming a paying client ultimately. So now in terms of the results from our marketing efforts, this is just a recent presentation I just looked up from Q4 of last year, where I always review these results each quarter with the client. This is what we saw ever since we really started going with digital marketing. You can see here how many project leads were generated on a quarterly basis. Q3, quarter to quarter, year over year comparison, 177% increase in total leads. These are qualified leads. These are people saying, here are the details of my project. Here's my budget. Can you help me, etc. So it's not just like, people who are just like kicking the tires around. These are people who are ready to go. And these are how many leads we're generating per quarter. And as you can see, this is what has really had allowed the client in this case to go from a 1 or 2 person firm to now a 5-person firm, and they're continuing to grow as well. So project leads, one of the most important indicators, obviously, for a variety of reasons. Then otherwise, I don't want to go too in depth here, obviously, for confidentiality purposes. But otherwise here, Google Ads, these are all the campaigns combined, but we're seeing an 8% conversion rate, which is like double the average that you would expect to see. You'd probably 3 to 4% conversion rate. You'd be pretty happy with that. 8%. Unbelievably good. So that is awesome as well. And then in terms of the click-through rates, this is how many people who see the ads, what percentage of them are actually clicking onto the ad itself. Industry averages 2 to 3% would be totally reasonable. Here we're almost at 5%, so almost double the average. And in total, this led to 96 total conversions for the quarter. The Google Ads leads you can think of as like marketing qualified leads as well. Onto SEO performance. So this is when you look at the keywords, when we first started out, we launched the website on a brand new domain. They weren't currently using the domain at the moment. And so we were basically starting from scratch. But you can see here in just about over a year, actually this is a full year if you look at the chart, we increased the keywords from 27 keywords to 572 keywords, and that is an increase of over 2,000%. So quite good, if I would say so myself. Now, keywords overall are a good way to get a kind of high level overall picture of the SEO performance. Not super great in terms of getting like how successful is it. The devil's really in the details. But if we look at some of the interesting keywords here, you can see for the two things they really want to rank for, ADU architect and modern architect, San Diego, they're now on the first page, which is really great to see. And then finally, the email list is critically important, especially when we talk about architecture firms, because an email list is people who have downloaded a lead magnet or filled out any other form on your website. And it's critically important to be building an email list for your architecture firm, because as you already know, the sales cycle in these projects can be very long, especially if you're a primarily residential firm. So essentially, husband and wife might think it's springtime in 2025. So maybe it's like March, for example. Let's start actually thinking about doing that addition project we've been talking about for years. And then they talk about it for a month, kind of doesn't go anywhere. But then next spring rolls around, and then that time they're ready to go. So the email list is super important, because once someone is on your email list, you can continually reach out to them, provide them with new content, provide them with more value. And email is very personal in a way that Facebook, for example, Facebook posts, Instagram posts, organic social media is not. So email is just a terrific way to stay top of mind with people, continue to nurture leads, continue to provide value. And in an industry where there's a long sales cycle, such as the architecture firm industry, it's critically important to be building this email list, because there's going to be people on that list who won't reach out to you this year for a project, but they're going to be reaching out to firms next year. And if you're the only firm who has been consistently creating awesome content dedicated to providing value and educating them about the process and the project and everything that they can expect, and other firms aren't doing that, at the end of the day, who do you think they're going to pick to be the architect for their project? All right, and so this was the website we ended up developing for the company here. So as you can see, it's a minimalist firm, so we really wanted to go for that minimalist design, as you'll see a lot through this website here, to make sure that we don't suffer from the problem of if people think this is all there is to the project. We actually had like a scroll down arrow here. And then as you can see here, we really went into kind of leaning into that value proposition. So we help people who love modern architecture build their dream homes. That goes back to the StoryBrand framework we talked to. So our audience is people who love modern design and they want to build the home that they've always wanted, that they've always pictured in their dreams. We also implemented a lot of video on this website, because that's what's really going to make this studio stand out online, because you can see great photos from a ton of different architects everywhere. Every website you go on, sure, even the ones that don't have a lot of content, as I probably talked about in some of my past videos, you can see that here. But here, the video automatically makes it stand out, automatically gives it a much more interactive feel. And then we've essentially, got a really awesome content strategy here where we introduce the firm on the homepage, and then we talk about some key projects as well. And so this way they can really get a sense of the design of the firm and what they're all about. We also talk about the process as well, and then we also implemented a very interesting horizontal scroll section here. So this, again, really kind of just catches people's attention, because if it's a typical website of like scrolling up and down, it's very easy for people to just gloss over everything. But this is something you don't see a whole lot on the web, and instantly it catches people's attention, along with the videos as well. It does a really, really great job of grabbing people's attention. Finally, we have testimonials for social proof, huge, so people can just see past testimonials. And then we have a call to action at the end, getting people to take action. So hey, if you like the work, let's design something amazing together. Let's create an awesome project together. People can make contact right away. Some other things I want to talk about here. So we designed a really awesome process page. As I've talked about in some of my other videos, a lot of firms don't even highlight the process, and this is a huge missed opportunity, because people want to know what the process is. I'm sure you probably, if you're a firm owner, you probably get this question all the time, like, what is the process for this project, right? And by just having this right here on the website, it gives people a lot of confidence that this is the studio for them to get their project done right. And especially this, again, this is the only page on the website where we went with the horizontal scroll on the entire page, because we really felt that it told the story in a very logical way, going left to right, the start of the process to the end of the process. So this is what we did here. We incorporated a lot more video again as well. The client had hired a really awesome videographer to create videos for their business. So we had like 4 or 5 really good, high quality, professionally shot HD videos to work with. So we were able to just pull scenes from those constantly. And that's how we were able to use this as well. So yeah, the process is huge. I mean, you really got to have a page like this. And in fact, I was talking to the client recently. We continue to work together on a marketing campaign. And they were saying how they actually present this to their clients. They literally pull up this page on the projector that they have, and they show the client this page, and they walk them through each step while going on it as the website as well. So we also have services. So we first started out just building like a main services page, but then we eventually, on like a phase 2, we developed specific service pages for the types of projects they work on in this case. So we have custom homes, remodels, ADUs, and commercial projects. And they all follow a relatively similar template, but basically here, you can use this as like a template for any of your service pages, but we have basically an overview of everything here. We have a video people can click on to talk about more. We have videos again. We have kind of like key features of what they can expect. So integrated permitting, modern and minimalist home design, contemporary design tools, and a well thought out process in this case. Then we have more videos. Then we have key features, so a proven process, 3D rendering so people can really visualize the new home before any construction starts, and then 3D modeling as well. And then expert permitting as well, which is especially big in this client's area, which is San Diego, where the permitting is not exactly awesome. Let's just put it that way. So yeah, and then of course, it's great to talk about all the work you can do, but ultimately people want to see real life examples, and that's what we have here. So we highlighted some specific projects as well, and we use this really big photography style, so you can see it's like almost like a full width image, and this really kind of catches people's attention and really brings the focus onto these projects. We then have these custom testimonial sections where we again leverage the horizontal scroll to catch people's attention, and this way they have to see all of the testimonials. Finally, obviously you got to have a portfolio, right? So here we use like a nice grid design, which the client really liked, because in this case he noted how not every project is as big or as equal importance. So he thought it was cool that we were giving only like a smaller type project, how it got like a smaller card on the grid. But yeah, I mean, essentially then for some of these projects, we then moved forward and built out custom portfolio pages for these projects. So some of them just got a standard template, like the smaller projects, but the bigger projects got this full custom design page where we have like an overview. We have a video for all of these. I'm not going to see it here, but there's basically a whole video you could watch here. And then we have quick features of the project. We have a rendering model overview. So it kind of just adds like a really cool, interesting design to it. And then we have kind of like a before and after. We have the process. So this is the client's process. And then we have details of exactly what it looked like in this case. More videos for adding that interactive feel. We talk about some key materials. So by having a custom page, this really allowed us to accentuate the interesting details that make this project unique. So yeah, you could imagine how a potential prospect is looking at this, and it's like, wow, I got to hire these guys. And then at the end, of course, once we've gone over everything, hey, let's design something amazing. You always want to have a call to action at the bottom of these really important types of pages, so that way people can take action and actually get in touch with whatever it is that you want to talk about with them. Obviously, at this point, setting up a first-time consultation. We also continue to produce really high quality blog content. So that's what you see here, where we have really helpful content about a ton of other stuff. We have resource centers. We have guides as well. These are the lead magnets I talked about here. So we have the Dream Home Guide and we have the San Diego ADU Guide, as you can see here. And then we also have all these other guides. So yeah, pretty straightforward. And then finally, a contact page. Love modern architecture, let's talk. I mean, that pretty much sums up the entire game here. So yeah, this was how the website turned out. We really leveraged that modern minimalist feel. So there's a lot of white space. I don't think we really used any other color for the website in terms of the background. It's all a lot of white space. It's a lot of like this pink brand color, the magenta brand color, which really draws attention. And then it's just videos and photos of the projects to make the website really stand out in a visually appealing way. All right, that's pretty much all I had to share with you today. I hope this process was really enlightening for you in terms of seeing what exactly it takes to put together an insanely successful digital strategy for your architecture firm that is able to generate leads on autopilot and then automatically follow up with them as well until they book that first time consultation. If you've got any interest in getting this entire marketing system set up for your architecture firm, definitely feel free to reach out to me. My name is Bailey Canning. As I said, I run a web design and digital marketing studio called Inbound Web Development. Now, if you're looking for even more information on this entire marketing strategy, then definitely check out our free resource called the Growth Marketing Playbook for architecture firms, linked in the description somewhere. Essentially, it kind of walks you through everything we talked about today in terms of how to design an awesome website for your firm, and every page and content you're going to need for those pages really takes the guesswork out of what it's going to take to build an awesome website for your firm that actually generates business results. And then finally, also in there are some of the strategies we've talked about across SEO and Google Ads and email marketing, so you can not only generate leads for your firm, but also nurture them automatically without any extra manual work so that you can ultimately grow your firm with digital marketing. All right, that's it for me today on today's video. I hope you liked it. If you did, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, because I'll be putting out new videos all the time, all around how to grow your architecture firm with digital marketing. And yeah, if anyone in your network you think would benefit from this video, definitely share it with them as well. I would really, really appreciate it. All right, that's it for me. See you in the next one. Peace out.